Lone cat. We did it. Also, we should absolutely not be streaming on Sunday. Oh my god, dude. Oh, by golly. Because I can feel my internal organ shutting down. Oh. Nine! Nine, what's up? That. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it! Well, we streamed for a whole ass month, and it was a mistake to stream on a Sunday, boyo. My body is like trained to know Sunday is just like comatose, basically. Just like I feel my face is already getting inflamed. Like I just want to sit there with like a blanket and go like, and just like completely melt away. Watch anime, then like get up and go like, fuck, I've been sitting for like 4 hours, that kind of thing. But alas, here we are. Also, I found this cool thing. It was like all the upcoming games for 2025. This is the one I've heard people talk about, but I've never actually seen. It's like a Horizon inspiration game, we'll say that in a very sweet way. But ladies and gentlemen, have we got so much stuff to talk about, especially after all the things I just did this morning as far as breaking down some stuff and looking at some data stuff, which is always boring, but alas, is what it is. I can't wait to tell you guys about findings, as well as just looking back at all this, you know, like hot damn. I can't, you know what's fucked up? It doesn't feel like it was a month. It's probably a good thing, but to me, it did not, like, it almost like the first 4 weeks feel like a blur, or the first 3 weeks feel like a blur. At the very end of the Elden Ring stream, I started being like, man, like, maybe that's it. If I knew we were gonna have like another couple streams of Elden Ring, my brain would lock in more. But because I knew we were basically gonna like have to walk away from Elden Ring, I started to take my foot off the pedal. If that makes any sense. Especially in the last couple things. Also, I should have changed the thumbnail for this video. I'm so sorry. It's still fucking Elden Ring something. So I'm sorry. I was one of those things where I make the thumbnails at the beginning of the week, and I'm like, I could make a better one probably, but then I was like, it's fine. It's okay. Trying to drink a lot of coffee, so that's disgusting. Coffee's delicious. This is the best thing I ever tasted in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, hot diggity damn. First of all, how has everyone's day been? Hopefully it was not too crazy. What you guys get up to with the holiday season? Hopefully you guys also had a good Black Friday, as well as Thanksgiving, because y'all in the States have it delayed for us in Canada land. Lone says, what's up, Grin? Cat says, Grin. Bodie says, not Bodie, we call it Rainy. Nope. Yeah, Dog says, yo, as well. Rainy says, hiya, Grin. Same shit, different day. Just the same old. Man, what do you call it? This month of streaming draws to a close, says Raid. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. I'm a weird kind of person in the sense that, like, I never find like, I'll set myself a challenge, and then I'll achieve the challenge, usually, or hopefully, if I do my damnedest to try. But then I will never, like, really take it as a success. It's almost like my brain goes to, like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next challenge, or what's the like, what is the thing that I, like, the takeaway in this, that I, like, what was the weakness that I found within myself that I should draw, like, attention to and try to address? I'm trying to get better at that. The fact that basically, one of the reasons, I have a lot of reasons why we did this. I didn't really specify a lot of them to you guys, because a lot of them were kind of like just stuff that I kind of wanted to see and feel out. But one of them was I just didn't even know if I could do it. Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of, like, I shouldn't say misconceptions, but I think perceptions on streaming and stuff like that. And when I always say stuff on a whim, and I hope it doesn't ever come across in a negative way, which I think it can often. But it's like, man, I just, like, sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if I'll have enough energy or something like that. It's not because, like, you guys are boring or streaming isn't the funnest shit ever, but it's almost like, it's like you working like a 4-hour shift and then going to hang out with like a buddy, or like working like 4 jobs, and then going to hang out with a buddy. Like, you're just going to be a really bad friend probably when you go to see your friend and you're like, hey, oh, it's great. Like, I don't have enough emotional bandwidth left over to be like, hey, let's fucking talk and have a good time. So to me, it was more about me seeing if I could keep my, like, energy kind of up and still be like a person that hopefully you guys want to spend time with, and then vice versa, all that kind of things. So to me, I wanted to see if that was possible, and I think it was. We found our groove. Man, one thing that is like a life lesson. Is this Skate 4 or something? Anyways, one thing, maybe like Parkour 4. Actually, honestly, it doesn't look terrible. It looks kind of terrible, but in a good way. Anyways, I should probably put the less interesting gameplay in the background. Anyways, what was I going on about? Streaming consistently, streaming more. The one thing, like a life lesson that I found, man, and maybe it's because I have like family that works really hard in like certain industries or businesses, and I've always kind of tried to help them. So they're like, there's these bouts of like hardcore ass work where like you're up on a lift and you're like fucking 30 feet in the air putting up a sign in winter while you're freezing cold while wind is blowing you back and forth and you're holding on to this thing for dear life whilst you're trying to put it upwards. So for me, the wisdom that I wish I could impart to you guys is 2 weeks.
Lone Syndicate said, I've had friend fall asleep while we're hanging out because they're just tired and I understand, so it doesn't bother me all grin.
No, for sure, Lone, but if that happened like consistently, I imagine you'd be like, man, you can just sleep. Like, we don't have to hang out. We can hang out with whenever you're energized. So maybe instead of hanging out like 4 times a week, you hang out like 1 or 2. You're like, just sleep, man. Stay home, sleep. Like, it's okay. That's kind of where I'm at. But like for me, if you're that friend, you're like, buddy, you've been my friend forever. I don't want to like not hang out with you, which just sucks that I'm not like emotionally here, which is shitty. But anyways, the reason why I say 2 weeks is because I think if you can survive 2 weeks of anything, you can probably survive months and months of it. Like 2 weeks is just the right amount of time for your body to kind of figure out, like adapt to it a little bit. Now, of course, there's like an extreme that probably would put this to ruin. But overall, I think if you can survive 2 weeks of something, you kind of know if this is like way, way too much, or if you're like, yeah, I can kind of find the rhythm in this chaos and kind of keep my mind, something locked in. But anyways, we did 4 weeks, and let me tell you, I had a fucking great time. I had a great time. Some things to look back on and adjust. I should not work out the same weeks we are playing non-stop VR. It was a bad idea to work out and also do a shit ton of VR. That it's just, one has to go. And it probably should be the workout thing. I could still do a wee bit of cardio maybe, but just not lifting heavy weights and then you're sitting there like, your back's like screaming at you as you're holding 2 joysticks like, kill me, please. Anyways, I'm getting what is that one game? It's like a really good like story game where like it's all about like battle trauma essentially, but it's very similar to like the sandy environment. I can't think of it. Operation or something. Operator. I don't know. So what's good, Fluff? Lone says, yeah, you have a friend like that. Nong says, could work out after maybe. No, so that was the thing. I don't like it. It's always compounds on itself. So like VR is a weird thing where it's like it's all about stabilization muscles. So like you're holding a position or you're holding a fire thing, and like no one realizes how like taxing something super simple can be. Like if I just told you to like pick up a cup and hold your arm like out straight like that, holding that cup, and I said, do it for like 5 minutes. I guarantee people will be like, oh fuck, my arm's starting to get a little shaky. So now if you stream for like 2 to 3 hours and you're holding these weird positions in your back and your posture's starting to go and your muscles that are supposed to be holding up your system are already taxed and they start letting go, and then you start having like these really terrible like posture because your muscles aren't like locked in and holding themselves up. And that's when it could be a little dicey. Which in that case, I think it'd be better to like do a week of like slight cardio or something like that. You can still get your heart rate up, but just don't fucking redline your body and then go and do a bunch of static positions and holds, But essentially, to kind of get into the nitty gritty, I guess, because we might as well. We'll pause that. We'll probably come back to that. This is the channel stuff. So this is the analytics. So shockingly enough, we made $50 this whole month. I'm not sure I think that's allowed to show. Maybe it's not suggested to show, but we made $50 for streaming every day this week, or almost every day this month. Pretty good, honestly. Again, you're not making a ton of money when it comes to making content in general, unless you're getting like hundreds of thousands of views. So that's awesome. We could buy a game. I'm not being kidding.
Said,
that's cool.
Spec Ops The Line. This,
that's
however, is the new extraction shooter from the Finals devs.
Oh shit, from the Finals, and it's a third-person game. Actually, I'm pretty hyped about that because I quite like the Finals. I think it's definitely like a technologically impressive game. Anyways, so when we look at our past streams, essentially the one that got the most amount of like viewer, like average view duration, which is hilarious, is this one where we prepped the stream. But the only reason why that is because the initial viewers who are watching this video are like 5. So like this video got terrible views, but for the 5 people that were there, they watched 40 minutes of it, which is awesome. But that one's kind of a goofy one. One that kind of has like comparable viewership to like actual, what do you call it, time, is probably this one, which is our Skyrim stuff. Basically, if I could summarize all the data that we're looking at, basically all these weird charts, essentially the videos that had the highest level of like new people coming in was 2. It was the Elden Ring in first person, and it was the Skyrim VR. Specifically in regards to the Elden Ring one did surprisingly well. Like I think we sort by viewership, the Elden Ring one was like 300 views, which again isn't crazy, but it's just some abnormality from our like base 100 that we sometimes get, which are probably bots. They were probably bots that I didn't even buy for. I didn't even do anything with. But yes, other than that, we got one over here with what do you call it, Wayfinder, and so on and so forth. But outside of all that, that's the data. Let's go back to this. What do you call it? My big takeaway from like this whole month of streaming was, and it's tough to kind of find the right words for it, but there are certain ideas that you have or that you can pursue that are almost like infinite, or at least fun to think about, like fun to get on board with. Like us playing Wayfarer is fun, but there's no initial necessary like hook there. Same thing with Zenless or Withering Waves. Whereas if we're starting a brand new playthrough of Skyrim VR or something like that, that's a brand new journey. We can always add mods to make that even more fun. We can have thumbnails that like inference some sort of unique thing that stream. Maybe we're doing companion quests, and then we put that as a thumbnail, and then maybe somebody who really likes that companion quest wants to see if there was anything added, and they see it in VR and they think that's extra neat, and then maybe they check out our channel, so on and so forth. Like so things like that. So that, as well as like Elden Ring first person, it's something that people can kind of get on board and like check out, as far as them just also being like an interesting different thing. But I think that from like a content creator perspective, it's really neat to be like, oh shit, what do you call it? Like if we did a Skyrim VR, or if we did Fallout VR, and we added like mods every other week, like maybe you guys find some cool mods that you're searching for, we add that, we look at that, we try to use that. That could be fun, and then if I got my head out of my ass, maybe we could also use that as a thumbnail and title. so that could be like something that people could actually search up and look for if they were interested in that mod, and they could find our streams that way. Things like that. Also, damn, that's an old man's ass. That dude's 90% upper body. Also, Jesus, tiny ass legs. But yeah, that's kind of the TLDR thing. A little bit of that. Yeah, I need to drink more coffee. I find my brain's not sharp right now. But also, what's good? Air says hi. So it's a hi sooner. Cass says, I wish more games had destructible environments. Dude, I still yearn for Red Faction Guerrilla 3, or Red Faction sequel, essentially. They had like a pseudo sequel, which was awesome, but it just was such a letdown to how awesome Guerrilla was as like an open world, like just break everything apart kind of thing. I think so many games have like a misunderstanding of like what people want. Like they want a game that looks prettier and more realistic, right? And they're like, no, they probably don't actually. I think they would much rather have something that just like has like destructible environments, or like thousands of like Pokemon on screen or something like Power World, like different things like that. Like when a game looks like it has crazy like armor sheen and water stuff, to me it starts like flying red flags everywhere. Like it's almost like, okay, the sheen of the armor cost like weaponsmithing. The what do you call it? The lighting cost a fuck ton of build synergy. That got thrown away. And like all that stuff. Raid says, I haven't played the finals. You haven't played the finals, Raid? Oh my god, Raid, it is so good. The finals is fucking peak. It was one of the few multiplayer games, even though I've long since passed my desire to want to like beat another human being. It is still a ton of fun, even for me who's like, ugh. I also agree, destructible environments are so awesome. Yes, it is. I think everyone agrees with that statement because people, if anyone is like, no, I want a game that's even prettier, it's like, do you have the money to build a PC that can even handle that?
Lone Syndicate said, I haven't played the finals in a bit.
Yeah, I will say that's the only thing the finals thing struggles with is it's kind of, it's hard to get away from people who like just play Call of Duty every single day, you know? I think that's like kind of their comfort game, so like it's hard for them to kind of take you away from that. Also, what is this? What is this? Is this like a new DayZ or some shit? Weird, I don't know, odd. Fluff says, Little Devil Inside seems cool, but reminds me of how ambitious No Man's Sky was. Also, Guerrilla was an anomaly for Red Faction. The last game in the series was close to the original 2 games. So I know, but I think that's the issue. I think that's the main issue is that people loved Guerrilla. And then they let's make an homage to the previous games that nobody bought and wanted. And you're like, well, I don't think it was good. Also, this looks like a very discount. What is it called? What's the other one that just came out? I can't think of it, but it's like the same Russian kind of like post-apocalyptic anomaly vibe. This is weird. This is in like top 14 open world games coming in 2025, and they show some real sketchy ass, hideous Tarkov looking thing. Well, yeah, what do you call it? But the finals, man. Finals is one of those games that I hope succeeds. You know, I hope it's not one of those games that's a botch. Back on track, but what we were talking about. What do you call it? So, I think. Oh man, it's kind of fucked up because I can't quite like string sentences together right now. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but like Sunday is such a day for me that is like a just don't do anything day. That like I feel like my body subconsciously knows. Like, just stop sending blood to the brain and let's just hang. And I'm like, but today's supposed to be the day that we have, like, we try to explain ourselves and all of our insights. All right. I'm going to give myself a little more time before I slam that coffee.
McFlufferkin said my friend did a lot of troubleshooting and fixed our modded Risk of Rain 2 list.
Oh, nice.
Turns out there were 2 culprits preventing the game from starting. Neither were deprecated.
Oh, okay. What do you call it? Fluff, Fluff, you sent me that thing. Well, what is that? It looks awesome. It looks like a plate almost, like not a plate, like a card, like a super, like, pretty card. I just don't, like, you sent it to me, but I don't know what it is. Is it part of, like, a card pack, or is it, like, a book sheet thing? Fluff sent me, like, this, like, ordained plaque, like, square plaque, which looked beautiful, but I just didn't know what it was, you know? It looked awesome, like, gorgeous. Whatever that thing is gonna be put with, mwah. Is this coming for CD Projekt Red's lunch, maybe? Oh my god, you're riding on a bear? Look at those hair physics. Most of it looks blurry, but hey. What is this? I should not have put this on in the background. It's such a distraction. It's like, what is that? That looks kind of cool. What about this? The Gothic remake. I don't know what that is anyways. Is that Jackie Chan? Oh. Is No Man's Sky that game coming out anytime soon? Not No Man's Sky. It's like the No Man's Sky creator, the devs, worked on like a game called something, and I thought it was a new game, but then I wasn't sure if it was actually like an upgrade to like a patch for No Man's Sky. I thought it was supposed to be like a new thing, like a brand new game from people who made No Man's Sky. I forget what their names are. I'm waiting to talk about the thing until I get answers to the things I've asked, but maybe that's not coming, or maybe it takes too long to type, which probably is the case. I guess we could do that. Let's do that. That's probably a better idea. Let's do that. Let's put up some of our gameplay, because at least that way it's not distracting. I find this is very distracting, seeing like the new gameplay stuff. I'm like, oh shit. What should we check on? Let's get a stream from every iteration.
McFlufferkin said those were my displayed set, a trio of metal wall posters.
Oh, they're
The
posters.
Fox was my first, the other 2, and one I haven't put up yet, were new thanks to a Black Friday sale, all of which are texture versions.
Awesome, they look great. They look super, super good. That, and then let's use this, I think. All right, let's check out this. First of all, this is going to be a little odd. Mute, quickly. Ew. Fucking gross. I'm in the corner. Disgusting. Which one is real? The one that's not blurry, probably. Why can't I transform this? Why are you not letting me transform this? What the fuck's going on? You son of a bitch.
McFlufferkin said Light No Fire is the next title from Hello Games.
Is that the one?
Catman 11,234 said 2 grins. I gotta take my minutes.
We'll do that, and then we'll do this, and then we'll fucking dwarf that bastard. Burn in hell. Piece of shit. Anyways. Alright. Let's skip to something happening. Man, I do that a lot. That's not fun. I just pause and talk for an eternity. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Let's go GT, aka V the God. Is that right? Oh, why would you do this to me? I came in to say I finally got Wave Band 2 for Cam and single.
GTTMH said I'm still waiting for Honor of Kings Worlds to come out.
What's Honor of Kings World? What's that? Honor of Kings World. I really don't spend time looking for new games. I find that if it's talked about enough, I'll look at. Yeah, it's probably good.
Lone Syndicate said 2 grins, there can only be one. Toss both a sword, fight to the death blood for the blood god.
I feel like I would win a little bit, just because right now I am much bigger than he is. All right. I'm content now. Light No Fire is the game from Hello Games. That's weird guy in the video is probably Frost. Fuck you. Yeah, exactly. It's funny. My chair is blocking him.
Raidnade said it's Grin's evil twin frown.
That's not Grimace, actually. Cat says that's weird. The video is Frost. I'm waiting for Honor of Kings to come out. Lol. Oh God. Give me PTSD. He said for Honor. What a shitty game. Yeah, a shitty game that you play too much. Too much. Raid says, it's evil twin frown. Yeah, that was such a good comment. Such a good comment, Raid. Okay, so it's an open world game. V says, or GT says, it's an open world game with that. It's made by Tencent. Ooh, but isn't that not so good? I don't know if Tencent made a good game? I should say a good game. A successful game. Have they done that? Or am I thinking right in the fact that it seems a little scuffed? Also, Embracer Group, I think, is also one of those people that I think is in that category of, like, they've published stuff, but it's not been better since their acquisition, so, Oh, man, I always scratch my eyes, and then I break, like, 7 little red irises in my eye, little red squiggle veins, and then I just look like I have pink eye for the rest of the day. It's not great, but alas. It's made by Tencent. The gameplay looks good as fuck. Is it good? Should I look it up? I just got this gameplay on screen. We'll look it up, and then we'll ramble about my dumb nonsense shit. What was it called?
GTTMH said, you side drops.
But I'm terrified of, you know how fucking horrifying that is? Raidnade? Is it Raid who said that, or Nong? Who said that? It was GT. You know how terrifying that is when you put an eye drop in and I fucking freaking the hell out because it's going to hit me in my eyes?
McFlufferkin said Catman and For Honor has the League of Legends player sort of
Yeah,
relationship.
that's definitely true.
It's shit. I've played thousands of hours.
It's a terrible game. No one should ever play it. What are you playing right now? I'm playing it. Oh. What? Yeah. No, I know. That's why. Where is fucking GT's comment? I can't find it. It's called... Okay, it's called Honor of Kings. What is this all about? Why is there an Asian man reacting to it and I can't just see the gameplay trailer, dude? I love when you look up a trailer of something, it's just a guy reacting to the trailer.
11,234
Great.
said For Honor was fun for the first year, but like any fighting game, the longer it exists, the better the player base gets, so the devs have to make it harder for their fan base too.
Makes sense. It's a fucked up cycle. Is this right? How little likelihood are we gonna be to play this fucking game, dude? God damn them! God fucking damn developers in China or Japan or some shit. Being like, let's make the most realistic fucking clothing physics you've ever seen in your whole life. It looks pretty fantastical, dude. Does he have sprinkles falling off him just then? It looks like an MMO. I definitely didn't get that from the name. Honor of King's World. Definitely like some sort of like weird space. Why is that weird? Why are there like banners of K-pop people on like fucking scrolls? that's a lot of mixed signals, dude. You telling me in this fantasy world there's still ads or still promotional banners? Shit. Over-the-counter eye drops were recently recalled because they had some bad shit in it. GT says, which one? Shit. I'll use refresh tears. Oh, hope you're okay, GT. For Honor was fun for the first year, but then it got bad, and I have to keep banging it out. I can't stand having anything near my eye. Exactly, right? I can't believe people. My mom is a psychopath. She just does that shit like crazy. She's like, let me see, and she just goes, boom. And then I just do that, and I'm like, fuck. I hate it so much. I'm sitting there, I'm like, so then what I opt to do, which is far worse, is I just take the nozzle, I pull my eye down, and then I creak it in like this. Like I make it touch my eye, and then I go in, and then I squirt it in. But I can't handle the idea that there's like an impact. It needs to just kind of go in. If that makes any sense. It's less scary. That's my pro strap. See, it had me up into this part where it becomes an MMO and it's just a series of numbers.
Said, did you see the completely original game? Do not steal, Light of Motiram.
Is it the one that was at the beginning of this trailer? That was basically Horizon, but looked kind of cooler? Because maybe it lets you do cooler shit? I don't know. I did not see it, but I don't know, man, because, like, as much as it is, like, it definitely is, like, very inspired by, what's it called, Horizon Zero Dawn. At the same time, to me, I don't know, it almost, like, a trend, like, the idea of, like, a technological caveman era. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's almost like, dude, should we allow PlayStation to own something like that, or should it be like, nah, I mean, I guess you could use it. I don't know. I'm always on the, like, the side of, like, create with cooler parts, like have fun creating stuff. I don't like when a company's like, this is our idea and no one can ever iterate upon it, and it is a little fucking on the wire. I'll give you that. I think they should have probably changed their homework a little bit more, but the idea that, like, I don't think this is eating anybody's lunch. Like, maybe there's pets that you can do that stuff with. Maybe you can climb, maybe you can, like, build stuff on mountains. Kind of looks like Ark Survival Evolved in the Horizon world, you know. Cat says, I'm stuck in a cycle where I've I'm decent at For Honor, so I practice. Otherwise, I can't have fun playing it because I'm bad without practice, so I have to suffer in order to succeed. I feel like you have described addiction or staying in a traumatic relationship. Because you're like, well, we have so much time together, and if I spend too much time apart from them, then I forget how to, like, communicate with them properly. And then it all just goes to shit, and it's just like, well, okay, maybe. I always, also, it's like a fucking 8-year-old game, man. Oh, that's also sad to say. Ray says, I always end up blinking when I try. Yeah, and it just, like, smears on your face, and also that shit feels weird on your skin. Like, it's not supposed to be on your skin.
McFlufferkin said it's a shameless Chinese knockoff, but it's also nothing new in that regard.
Yeah.
At least the player characters are prettier than what they are doing retroactively to a lore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, again, my whole thing is that I would much rather, like, I don't like when people try to lock down ideas, especially when the ideas are, like, general enough, like a robotic humanoids or animal beasts or something like that. You know, And honestly, they could the people could come for what do you call it? They could say like Horizon was basically taking what was it called? Inspiration from like Digimon, who was first trying to do like hybrids of saber-toothed tiger monsters and make them mecha and all that stuff. I just it's a slippery slope basically, where like you say that like, oh, this is my unique idea, and then like people say, yeah, but 20 years prior there was this other thing that's very close to your idea. And I think it's better to live in a world where, like, again, PlayStation's like, oh yeah, you can make this if you want. We know that, like, we can make a better Horizon or a better thing.
11,234 said, speaking of locking down ideas, fuck whoever patented the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
Dude.
We won't get any more games.
Yeah. That's Warner Brothers, I think. I think it's Warner Brothers who patented the Nemesis system of that, and then they just never use it. Which I honestly think is like a crock of shit. Like, not that it's not true, it's just that it would never hold up in court. Like, it's one of the reasons why, like, Sony...
McFlufferkin said, who would have thought this was the true price of putting a lawyer into Genshin? Welcome to Horizon.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter the gacha game.
I was going to say... what do you call it? It's almost like the idea of like why Sony, who's like one of the most litigious, like not Sony, sorry, I mean Nintendo, who's one of the most litigious, like fucking, they go after content creators. They basically go after anybody who they can like fuck with. But the minute that they go after like a person that's kind of in the same, basically just hire like $20 million worth of lawyer fees essentially. When they get into that range, they're like, ah, fuck. And that's the same reason why, like, not Sony, Nintendo is trying to get Power World devs to like just fold, so that there's a legal precedent for them owning that thing. I think if anything ever gets like enough pushback, and that pushback ever has like sufficient money, because I know you can't pay like lawyers billions of dollars. Like there's a cap on like you're gonna get a good lawyer that's gonna be able to find out whether this is gonna be able to be good or not, probably within the range of like $1 to like $20 million around there. Probably being a little bit, I say that's probably a little too much. Point is though, but yeah, I think you're going to be able to get like tap into that same talent pool to where it'll come down to like the minute who's actually in legal right. But because they can't bully the what was it called, the devs that made the game Power World, I think they're trying to basically get them to fold just so they get that precedent.
And then there's also Monster Hunter, Outlanders, the official Monhun gacha game.
Weird.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, man. Again, everything Genshin made. Genshin did change it all. Genshin changed everything. I will say this game looks fire. I have no idea about this game. This game is even like partially true. It looks very cool. It looks like it's almost tapping into like Skate 2, weird nonsense, and yeah, looks pretty neat. Also, it's been a while since we had like a Mirror's Edge vibe. Although, because it's wishlistable, it could be like what was that one game called again? That son bitch. What was the other one I found? This was the other like 5-year-old trailer from this game, Honor of Kings. Gotcha game, stuff like that. My back's so itchy. Dude, I got a bubble in my chest and I hate it. I can't. Oh, I wanted like, I'm sure I'm trying to burp or something, but like I always have these like, ooh, and it just won't get out of me. It drives me nuts. But yeah, just to ramble off a little bit. Maybe we should have this in the background.
McFlufferkin said there's an indie parkour game called Rooftops and Alleys. I think worth checking out.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so let's try to get back on track a little bit. So we just wrapped up our month of streaming. First of all, I cannot stress enough how I am over the moon that so many of you guys actually like showed up. I always feel like there's a background challenge of you guys being like, well, I wanted to make it to every stream this month just to prove you wrong, Grin. That you were saying there's gonna be a stream where some people like there's no one here. Regardless of whatever happened, I appreciate it immensely of so many people being here so consistently. But there was two reasons why I really did this whole challenge to begin with. I think it's high time I tell you guys most of them. I think I talked about them in the past, so people who are consistently here probably have some idea of what I'm about to talk about. But essentially, the first thing I wanted to do is just set a challenge for myself, because it's been a while since I pushed myself a little bit, and I wanted to see if I can like keep myself energetically engaged. Basically, like show up to that like hangout every day, or almost every day, and try to be like a person that is present and having fun and like trying to be social and stuff like that, and not be like, dude, I just worked 5 jobs, I'm so tired, I have no more emotional bandwidth left, right? So I was able to do that. I hope I was able to show up and I was like, let's fucking go. We're doing things. And then another part of that, was me really wanting to have like good streams. Like we could have literally just been like, okay, we're playing Destiny for a month. Let's just do that. And then we just like we'll log in, we grind out some Destiny together. Doesn't sound like it wouldn't be fun. We could do that same thing with Withering Waves to some extent, or Zenless.
Lone
Hell, you know,
Syndicate
with
said,
Skyrim.
that's as true. I was gonna be here anyway. Then you said that and challenged me, and my pride was going for that grin.
Well, I'm not sure. That's not the best thing for you to be here just because of pride's sake. I would hope you were here because you wanted to have a hangout and have a good time, but I digress. Anyways, but we could have done that with Skyrim, so on and so forth. But I wanted to see if, again, if I could, like, the whole point of this month was to kind of, like, up the intensity and up the, effort, I guess, and see if you could maintain that effort over time. So, like, one of the things is I wanted to have a ton of, what is it called? A ton of, like, actual, like, I'm proud. I'm fucking proud of the previous week that we did. Every single week we did something kind of cool, kind of fucking different. The first week we had a co-op game, which was an undersold game that Fluff was telling me about, and that blew me out of the park, called Wayfarer, which was a blast to play. Super different, deserves to succeed, unfortunately may not, but still fucking awesome. And it may have mod support in the future, so that's even more exciting. The second week,
McFlufferkins said they turned Lou BU into a monkey. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And the second week we did, we played what do you call Withering Waves and Zenless, and we fucking lucked out. Like you would not believe. It's like in both instances. One was delayed because Zenless was like the second weekend when we were playing, whatever. But point is, we fucking succeeded in that way, which is awesome. The third week, we played, what was it? Skyrim. No, sorry, that's what it was. It was the second week was Skyrim, and then the third week was Withering Waves. Regardless, Skyrim VR was our first big. It's Skyrim VR. It was awesome. Also a unique idea, I think. Anyways, and then Elden Ring first person was also tons of fun. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of me. Like, again, we could have just fucking phoned it in and been like, hey, we play Withering Waves. We'll just play Withering Waves and Zenless for this month, and I don't think it would have been good. I think we would have been burned out like you would not believe. But the one takeaway I have from like planning all that shit is you don't need to do something so fucking different every fucking other week, which I kind of knew. In fact, a lot of my like takeaway was like, I was like, fuck, man, I wouldn't have minded playing like another whole week of a Wayfarer with we were playing with Red, Lone, Fluff was up joining it too. I thought it made for like goofy fun when we were talking about glooming on people and shit. It was just so fun. I wish we would instead of like just swapping to another game, I wish we would have played that for a few weeks. And then the second one, which I thought was like the biggest takeaway for me, was the fun of Skyrim VR. With how fucking broken, clunky, and messy those streams were, I still felt like we got some new people who came in and were curious about it. I seen a lot of people who were like really into it, and not only into it in a sense of like they were commenting and talking about it, but they were also like talking about it in a sense that they wanted to like add this mod or like let's do this thing next week or next stream. Which was tons of fun. So yeah, like that kind of stuff to me is something refreshing and surprising, where like someone who's not only like commenting about the game and enjoying it, but talking about like, oh, we should do this next. So they're excited for the future of whatever we're going to build going forward, was tons of fun. I think that plays into the idea that like we were playing a very moddable game. So the likelihood that someone comes in and says, you should try this mod that I tried is higher than not, you know? What is it called? I see Cat's message pop up. Ooh, the gloom streams. The gloom streams we were wilding for sure. But and then the Elden Ring week. I'll be honest, the Elden Ring week I kind of a part of me I really liked that week, but a part of me I could start to feel like the fatigue a little bit set in, where I was like, man, I'm starting to have like no emotional. I'm like, I don't have anything, like, again, this is the issue of, like, me just being a very boring person in general. I don't, like, go out and, like, fucking party with my friends or, like, get up to mischief or something like that. I have a lot going on. So it's usually, like, you guys, the game, or, like, something crazy that I can think of in the moment to talk about. And then eventually when we're, like, fucking, that's pretty good. Like, fucking 4 weeks in, going nonstop. To finally be like, all right, I'm starting to fucking tap out.
The first 2 weeks were my favorite, not just because I was directly involved for Wayfinder, but Skyrim VR resurrected my interest in it, and I got a good collection.
And that was one of the
gloom for the gloom god.
Gloom for the gloom god. I was gonna say that was one of the things that to me was cool too, is to see people like with it. we were able to almost like affect people in a sense, but like kind of spur people to like get back into Skyrim. And I think we could, so like moving forward, and I kind of wish I would have wrote these down. I probably will try to. Moving forward, based on all the information that I garnered from all those things, I think it's a good idea to, how do I define this properly? I think we can play other games and stuff like that, but I think it really helps to have like 1 week to sit into an idea and sink into an idea like more and more and more. And I also think it helps when we...
Lone Syndicate said favorite weeks was the 2 stone week and the 3rd week for me.
The 2 stone weeks? Wait. I'll ask that question to chat in a minute, but let me grind this out first. I'll ask you guys what your favorite week was, but don't tell me just yet because I won't be able to. I'm trying to build this up real quick. Going forward, I think it makes sense to play games either like when Avowed drops, we have a whole week that, and we can even make that 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, given we're enjoying our time and we want to keep building and this thing together and messing around with our playthroughs. I think that makes sense for us to do. Maybe we find out that I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we don't need to beat this game or complete it to 100%, but maybe we just need to achieve like these 4 goals that we set for ourselves, and we could do that within a week or maybe 2. That makes sense too. So I think that's where like the week of stream makes sense. I also think, especially from a lot of stuff I've seen as far as research and stuff goes, it makes sense to lean into games like Skyrim, Fallout, Minecraft, or Elden Ring, like games that basically are massive and usually have a ton of mod support that completely change the game. Like I was seeing a bunch of Elden Ring stuff where it was like a randomizer that I thought, oh, we could have totally done that for like 2 weeks. Just played Elden Ring randomizer and just like sank into suffering, you know what I mean? When Wayfarer finally has its mod engine hopefully there, we can like mess around with mods. Same thing with like if we're done with Skyrim VR, we can go to Fallout VR and kind of start building that out as well. So like, I think those are the things in which I feel like it would tap into the same excitement that we got with Skyrim VR maybe, and with Elden Ring VR, because those are the 2 most successful streams.
Continue weekly streams. I suggest having a main game for the month, then maybe weekend or specific DSYS that are short breaks to keep it fresh.
Yeah,
hang out and recap streams like this weekend.
Yeah, I feel like it would be the opposite problem, but maybe not. Maybe it's worth the test. But I feel like it would be like if we only had 1 game to play for a whole month. I feel like it would be like it would bog us down. And even if we tried to have like you could try to break it up by like having these breaking periods. But I still think like there's like almost like a right amount for everything. Like something like I always talk about, but it's like the right amount of kindness, the right amount of selfishness, the right amount of cruelty, the right amount of self-sacrifice, etc. Like those things. It's not so simple as like balance. It's like sometimes this is the right amount that will get you what you need, so to speak. So I think like I could see us doing like a whole month of Skyrim VR, because on the second month we could add mods that were entirely different, that changed the flow and interest of the game. It could pull people back in. We could start doing companion mods. We could start doing magic reviews, so on and so forth. But then if we were to play Wayfarer for like a whole month, I feel like very quickly within the first 2 weeks I'd be like, okay, I'm getting a little I'm going crazy. Like we've been just grinding and it's slow and it's a bit of a bitch. So I think that's where it could kind of bite me a little bit. But I do agree that that's one of the takeaways that I'll talk to you guys probably a little bit tomorrow towards the end of the stream. But yes, so moving forward, I think those are the things that we'll do with our streams. If I'm honest, man, I will probably find some weird way of squeezing in like a Zenless stream, just because it's a game that I kind of play on my time as like kind of like a peaceful meditation almost. Zenless and Withering Waves. But I won't lie and say that was by far the stream that I noticed the weakness of the, not, I don't want to put it on you guys, but like, yeah, I noticed that it didn't seem like there was as much fun. Not that I don't think people enjoy seeing like anime people pop off and stuff like that. I just don't know if there was anything for other viewers who are not necessarily interested in that game very much to grab onto, you know? Whereas I feel like most people played Skyrim, or most people can understand like we're doing something specific, whereas Zenless and Withering Waves are just checking things off the list.
Up to a month, then, depending on the game.
Yeah.
Skyrim is one that makes sense for a full month or perpetually. Wayfinder is more of a 2-week
exactly.
fair.
Yeah.
Atlas or Holocure would be a single week or less.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's kind of weird, but I feel like, and again, this could just be a symptom of you guys being fantastic and awesome. But I feel like so long as we explain like we're gonna do this thing, like maybe we're gonna play I don't know, like Wayfarer for 2 weeks or something, or we're gonna play the Hollow whatever for 1 week. I feel like so long as you guys if I say that, I feel like some people will be like, got it, this. Cat says, Skyrim forever, baby. But yeah, that's kind of the takeaway that I got from that, is I really did enjoy like the giant pushes. But before I get into things, actually before I'll wait to that, because that's kind of the other thing that I kind of want to talk to. It's kind of like the other reason why I did this whole month, why I wanted to do it in the first place. So I asked the chat if you could summarize what were the top 2 games or weeks that we did. Just say the game. So what was the week of streaming? The 2 games that you most enjoyed when it comes to our month of streaming, out of the ones that you've seen, of course. I'm not sure. I think most people here have seen most of them. Okay, Lone says his favorite were Wayfarer, Woowa, and Zenless. I kind of figured that would be the case. Nong says Skyrim and Wayfarer in that order for me. Okay, gotcha. So Wayfarer. Wow, I'm surprised. A lot of people were like put Wayfarer up in their high list.
Said Wayfinder and Skyrim VR. Hard to say which was more enjoyable.
That's also interesting because Nong was like one of the most like fervent helpers when it comes to the Elden Ring stuff. The fact that didn't pop up as one of his ones, I think means those other ones were that good, or it was tough watching me play Elden Ring. Wayfarer is the Skyrim VR. Hard to say which one was more enjoyable for me. I'm waiting on Cat. Oh, what was Cat's favorite 2 games? Oh. I want to wait to there he is. Okay. Skyrim VR was my fave. I'm excited for you to check out the Cured mod and Skyrim modding channel in the Discord. Much potential, and you're entertaining when you play. Hey, okay. What do you call it? I kind of okay. So that's like that's not. I wasn't a weird feeling. I feel like Skyrim was a very big winner, and I think Wayfarer, just because it was something that we could play together, was also fun. And again, it was goofy. I'll be honest, Wayfarer was half of it, I think, was also us just finding the stupid meme of Gloom and just getting weird. Getting weird, essentially. I think that helped a lot. But honestly, if I could tell you guys mine... Raid's also here. I thought I was missing someone. I know Bolty was also here for a lot of streams, and I wanted to ask him, but yeah. Raid says, Wayfarer was nice, but I like Woowa and Zenless as well. Yeah. I feel like so. Whether Wayfarer and Woowa and Zenless... okay, so, what was I going to say specifically? Okay, so for my favorite week, if I were to think about it, I actually haven't thought about it very much. When Skyrim was working, it was so fucking fun. But the level of effort to make that shit happen, oh boy. But again, I think it's just because I think if I were to do like a load order, like a mod enhancement number 2, it would be not as headache inducing. But boy howdy, was that one where I was like, dude, why did I make this so hard on me? Just trying to get this shit working. Anyways, but I would probably say when it was working, Skyrim VR was a ton of fun to me. And yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I honestly say Wayfarer, because Wayfarer surprised me, I think. Whereas I always knew I like Withering Waves and Zenless, but Wayfarer was a surprise. I felt like we were making progression.
said if we return to Wayfinder soon, I'll help you set up the party limit expander so we could have at least 2 console crossplayers, myself, Red, and more PC
Hell yeah,
players.
yeah. We'll get to that a little bit in the future of like where we should go moving forward as far as like what our actual objectives are for the remaining XYZ. Grin says, I know, Nog says, nah, I could tell Grin was starting to get frustrated towards the end. Well, I was getting frustrated, Nog. Well, I guess it's kind of true. To me, I knew that the week was coming to an end. So, like, half of the journey of, like, it's easy to suffer when you know you have so much more to go, so you don't really even have time to think about, like, fuck, things aren't working out. The issue is, like, when you're like, this all means nothing because, like, this is, like, the last stream, and then we're probably not going to come back for this, at least for a couple weeks, because I need, like, a refractionary period, like a recovery period, which we'll also talk about, but yes. Wayfarer, Red says Wayfarer was good because I was on the fence about getting the game. Watching you play it was helpful. Yeah. If we
Catman 11234 said I think gnawing said that in response towards my Monster Hunter comment.
I thought it was the yeah, I forgot about that. It's another game. Okay, sorry. I thought we was talking about the Elden Ring thing. Okay, no, you're talking about the yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sorry. I got you. Yeah, to me, man, it sucks cuz like I like Monster Hunter a lot. I know that I don't like the gameplay loop fatigues me. And it clearly doesn't do it for everyone. But like the idea of like, again, if they just fix the one thing that I have an issue with, it's just like the fact that you grind out a boss and then you get like nothing it just breaks my heart. Where you're like, I just spent 30 minutes chopping away at this enemy, and he gets like 3 dodge rolls and fucking one taps me with his whatever his damage. It's just heartbreaking. And then if you die in a team battle, then you're fucking taking like a chunk of effort. Like you could be the sole reason why your strike team loses. It just all seems like shit. Where I'm like, it just seems like trauma to me. It just seems like you're farming out trauma and sadness and like heartbreak essentially when you die to this thing. And again, it didn't help that we played like Warfare immediately after, and I thought, I like this a little bit more as far as like loot. Like loot's a carrot on the string, whereas like fighting a bigger beast that's harder and gives you maybe a slightly better weapon but functions largely the same. That's just harder to be like, ooh, especially when your reward after getting killed is fucking nothing, essentially, you know.
Gnawing Fetus said some of us are broken like
yeah.
that.
I get you, but believe you, my brother. What do you call it? I was like I made a ton of Let It Die content, so trust me, we meet a lot of broken people. But what was I gonna say? Okay, so there's 2 things. Yeah, what should we? Yeah, okay. Pause Texas Beach for a while. Yes. So this is the other thing. This is the thing I didn't really talk too much about. I talked a little bit about it when we were talking about, what was it called? Dead, Blade Sorcery. Sorry, it's not important anyway. But essentially, there was another reason why I wanted to do this month of streaming. I talked to you guys beforehand about this, which essentially is I've been doing YouTube for such a long time, and I love it to pieces. I love streaming to death. Again, if I could like win the lottery tomorrow and be set for life, etc., I could take care of my parents and give back to people and be a person in my community that could help others and like be there for others, so on and so forth. That'd be awesome, right? But life doesn't exactly work that way. So a part of me, well, whilst I was doing so much studying with YouTube over these last couple of years, to me, the thing that kept being reaffirmed was that YouTube and content creation essentially has an element of like chance to it. So it's almost like every time you upload a video, there's a chance that it could do well. People always discourage or say that the algorithm's against them of some kind, but largely the algorithm is just trying to find like your viewers, and I don't really subscribe to that in a large way. But largely, I think most people would agree there's some chance-based stuff to YouTube, right? Like an element of luck is what some people say. So people always say you need a good bit of luck, then you also need a decent bit, a shit ton of effort, essentially, and hopefully skill. And if you do those 2 things, then you can do good. The best way I've always thought about it is you flip the coin, and there's a percentage chance that you can get the thing that you want. The more you understand about things like how important your thumbnail is, how important your title is, how important all these other things are, pacing, story, how your viewer perceives things, so on and so forth. All those things can increase the percentage chance of you succeeding. But I think largely it's still a pretty slightly lower chance, or at the very least, each coin can be weighted differently. This is kind of me referring to the fact that like if I were to tell someone how to succeed on YouTube and so on and so forth, I would tell them for like if you were doing this for a year straight, try doing like Call of Duty content for like 1 whole month and do your best to create content in that space. And if it doesn't work out, move on to a different thing. Another interest you possibly have. Maybe it's Withering Waves, maybe it's World of Warcraft, whatever it is. And then maybe you go back to those previous channels at the end of the year and you see that one of them took off. But largely, that's an element of it. And you probably shouldn't just like dig your heels into the ground and like just keep pursuing this one thing, especially if you wanted to succeed, right? Because you never know. But I digress. Let me continue. Let me just drink some water because my mouth's drying up. So, that's all to say. I had this idea because I was doing so much YouTube research, and I hit a point where and people talk about this all the time when it comes to business stuff, but there's like an exponential point of knowledge or skill development, essentially, where like you start off, let's say you start off in a job or in a field that you really are interested in. You have an abnormal amount of confidence, but you have not a lot of understanding. But that confidence can have you like swing for things that most people wouldn't otherwise swing for, and that can lead you to some success. But then what often happens is you fail a couple times, you start to go down, and then you basically start to realize that you know very little, and you know like a cripplingly less, like a low amount of stuff, right? And then eventually you survive long enough to know how much stuff you don't know. And then by you existing in that space long enough, you start to actually learn a lot. And that stuff that you didn't know starts to kind of fill out. And now you not only have an understanding of how things work, but you're slowly starting to build up your confidence again. And that's kind of how like most things work as far as skill development. There's a momentary period of like, we're doing good, where we suck, and then holy shit, I'm starting to piece everything together, and that's kind of nice. The issue I have is I've gotten to the point where I've started to like I've had some videos where I've done all the right stuff and I've hit the mark and it's worked out. And I could understand that those videos I think were gonna do decently well when I made them. The issue is holy shit, dude. The amount of like I can't even describe it to you guys. But all I can say is the amount of stuff going on is like mind-boggling to account for. Like to account for how a viewer reacts to your thumbnail and how to make them lean in, the amount of how to like make content specifically that your viewer might like, knowing how to create a story and account for the variables in which someone starts to lose interest, the variables of trying to account for that like title and all these things, and so on and so forth, that it just becomes almost like you're infinitely juggling like 1,000 balls in the air, and you're just kind of like, dude, I kind of get how this can like work out, but holy fucking shit, like this is exhausting kind of thing, you know? Like I tell my family all the stuff I'm learning as I'm going, and they're like, this just sounds like hell. And I'm like, yeah, but it's really cool when you have a video that's really awesome. So all this is to say, again, sorry to go rambly on you, but this is the only point that really matters about this whole premise, is that I had this thing that I was curious about, and I wanted to try it out. The first thing was I wondered what would happen if I pursued something that I pursued as viciously and as dogmatically as I did with the whole YouTube thing these last 2 years, but instead it was what is it called? Some sort of business or some sort of entrepreneurial thing, just to see like what I could do in that space, essentially, for just 1 year, just to see, and see if I could like try to create some sort of thing. Essentially, the idea being, what if I went back to YouTube being fun as a predominant fun thing? And then I found a different way to like make money, to be independent, to grow as a person, and all that kind of stuff, which I felt like was a little bit more healthy, rather than like trying to get good at this super complicated thing, at least to me. And again, it doesn't need to be complicated. Again, you could just be really loose about it and just keep trying things and just be like attacking things from entirely different angles. Like do a cooking channel, do a fucking anime channel, do a meme channel, do it whatever, and one of them has a high likelihood of hitting, so long as you know how to make something kind of good to watch. But that's something I find hard to do. So the reason why this all matters is because the reason why I started this whole month of streaming is because I was really really curious to see if I could, one, manage the level of effort, I guess, to like consistently stream. Two, to see if we got new viewers popping into our stream if I focused on it enough. And three, if I could make streams that were different enough every week that I would feel satisfied by like still being very creative in this space, essentially, not being like, hey, we're just gonna play Destiny for a whole month and just degrade our brain into oblivion. Instead, let's focus on these 2 or 3 things, or like make something exciting every week. And what do you call it? I got all the answers to my questions, where, again, the thing that stood out to me in a big way was that I love streaming. Like, streaming is one of the things that, like, if I had like a whole ass 9-to-5 job, and I still don't want to give up exercising or my health, streaming would be the last thing that I'd give up. Even though I fucking adore making content, especially on our Mind Palace and Mana's channel. But the whole ambition of that channel was always just to upload videos that I was proud of, essentially. That I wouldn't look back on in a year and think, what a piece of shit. I'd be like, no, I'm happy I made this. I tried, you know? I really tried to hit the mark with this. So yeah. Let me read chat a little bit, and hopefully I'll reorient to where I was. I think I said everything I kind of wanted to say, but like that was the other aspect of it. Is I had the ambition of in 2025, I wanted to try to take like 80% of my attention, which is usually all on YouTube, and instead focusing on something else, so that maybe possibly in the future I could have I could basically be successful in a different thing, a different field, a business, or whatever. And then I could treat YouTube as just something that I could have fun with and not something that I have to micromanage 1,000 little tiny things. Because a part of me, man, when like, again, learning all this stuff was like, I feel like you could do this with other things and they don't ask this much of you to like kind of like do. But by the way, it's a great experience because you're trying to like patch holes, like, or fix problems before they happen. So I think you could apply that to other things that you could possibly pursue in life. And it's not that I'm undermining like entrepreneurship in any way. It's just, I think it's good to try things. I think like I've been doing this for like 8 years, or like 10 years. It's probably not a good idea to be like, let's just keep bashing our head against the wall. Instead, it'd be like, let's get back to like having fun and creating stuff that I kind of just like. And if I can kind of be independent and make money on my own, and all that stuff, and that could open up doorways for us doing stuff in YouTube land, or like, you know, I could pay for our VTuber goal myself, all these kinds of things. All that stuff I think matters in a big way. So that's what I was kind of gearing up to do in going into 2025. But now having done this stream week, I'm like, oh, okay. There could be moments where we oscillate, essentially, like where I give, like, for a couple weeks I go all into this whole like idea of trying to, you know, just do something outside of YouTube. And then there could be moments like when Avowed drops where we like go all into that. We have fun with that. We'll still stream every week. It'll just oscillate between 3 times a week, or, you know, a whole week or 2 weeks, or whatever we decide. So on and so forth. And yeah, also be open for things to change, because again, you never know. Maybe there's like a week where I'm like, no, I'm really trying to solve this weird problem I have for this idea that I'm trying to do for an entrepreneurial thing, whatever it could be, you know. Yeah. But anyways, now let me read chat. Sorry. That was the other part of why I did this month, is because I'm kind of prepping to see what I can manage going forward in the coming year and what would be the best case scenario for our Streamland. And that's kind of what I've come to, is like again, having these bouts of like a long like weeks of streaming, and then probably cutting it down to like 1 or 2 times a week when I have this other thing that I'm trying to pursue. And yeah, let me see. But the shake it off, take a breath, run it back mentality that works well with Monster Hunter. It's more complicated than that, but it's why it's a niche genre. I see. Flush, speaking of, perhaps we can try a week of Dauntless, since it's coming to the stream this week on the 5th. Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, again, the also thing I want to say is like this like until 2025, we're probably going to be doing stuff like this, streaming for like full-on weeks and feeling it out again. I would like to, like, at some point in this month, this new month, I would like to try to play that weird game Fluff wants me to play, that's like a VTuber thing. And then maybe doing another week where we play the next like Skyrim VR for a whole push again. Sorry, I got a bump in my chest. But yeah, so that's stuff that I wanted to try. But again, we kind of, now that all the stuff is laid out, you guys know the variables I'm trying to balance out, which is like in 2025, I would like to dedicate more of my mind and time to something outside of YouTube, and see if I can like make something work given how complex YouTube seems to be. And maybe there are other things outside of that, don't have to be so complex. And yeah, and then I could get back to just like having, like, just making content that I'm proud of and that I want, which tends to be the place that like most people say they succeed on YouTube is when you basically are playing, like when you have all the knowledge of the variables that are important for you to have some effect on, like thumbnails, titles, and such, but then you still make and create from a place of selfishness, of like just being like, I like this, I think it's cool, here's what I made because I thought it was neat. That's when people usually like find some sort of weird niche that they connect with them and then connects with others, and so on and so forth. But you still need to like understand the importance of a thumbnail to some extent. Like that massively helps. Anyways, so speaking of, perhaps we could try the Dauntless thing, and also speaking will almost feel like a new game, especially with how the new changes felt. Yeah, that'd be cool to see. Cat says, Fluff, I feel that mentality with For Honor. Yeah, to like embrace the suck a little bit. Cat says, going to kill, getting 2 kills, 8 deaths, wanting to smash my monitor, but I just quit for 15 minutes and do something else until I've chilled out. Yeah. I feel like for me, I like if I put myself in that situation, I feel like I care too much about stuff like that. Like I find like I don't find I can let things go easily, unfortunately. That's why I kind of try to like dissipate things immediately in the moment as much as I can. The amount of long-term YouTubers I've seen create a second channel only to migrate entirely to it, I'd have a lot of nickels, but it's interesting how common of a path it became. Yeah. Well, again, I think it's a lot of it is because. Like again, it like half of the like again, if someone I loved was like given a weird devil's deal of like you have to start making content right now and be successful, I could conceive of something that they could do that would massively increase their chances of succeeding. Like every month try to like launch a channel in a specific niche that is neat, like cooking, food, makeup, gaming, whatever, and then after like the 8 months look back at all those channels and see which one had any momentum and then just keep pursuing that one channel. Or if you get lucky and you see one that explode immediately, then just lean into that one. But I find that to be difficult because you're kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm boxing myself in and so on and so forth. Kat says, I've attempted to start a business and I've made a website and sold products. Holy shit, I chose the worst time in my life circumstance to start, and I haven't gone back to it. Yeah, no, again, to me, it's... again, I the worst part about it is I'm not trying to make it sound like entrepreneurship or business of any kind is an easy thing to do by any means. I mostly come from the perspective of like I've done YouTube stuff for so long, and it seems so complex. Or can be.
Said Markiplier's Unus Annus is an interesting example of throwing things at the wall and seeing if they stick.
Yeah, that's a good example. It's kind of not the best example because Markiplier already had like a built-in big audience, so to speak. And yeah. But like starting something new, I feel like you're half of it is like you're hoping to make something that people find unique and connect with, and then the other part of it is also just hoping that the algorithm gives that video to the right people and the stuff that you can do to like facilitate that, but sometimes not so much, you know. Your My Past Metaphys are cool. I love videos, essays, and they're a bit like that. The story type scripts, along with making a general point with eviting examples and satisfactory. Yeah. I'm proud of those videos. And I think that's the thing I would like. And again, by the way, when I say entrepreneurship, it may not be like always be running a business. It could be something like, hey, I really find I'm good at this. Maybe I should work for a company doing that. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be like me running a business. It just needs to be like, what if YouTube wasn't like the thing I see in the future in, you know, if I didn't have to like find a way to make this succeed financially, what if instead I could just look at this as like a fun creative outlet and a place to hang out with friends? I feel like that's a lot more healthy than like trying to math out the algorithm of how things work. Not that that's not also enjoyable or fun for me. It's just I don't know. It just seems like it's so complex, and at least like it's something that I could see me improving at within like 2 years of me doing it enough, and like you keep having to learn the same lessons, but eventually it sticks, and then you kind of just have it like a natural sense for this kind of stuff, which I hope to still try to do, you know, still try to do the YouTube thing so that can happen, but to kind of like condense all of the data and analytical stuff that you need to monitor in your head is a little much. But there's moments where like it doesn't have to be that complex if you don't want it to be. You could just start a new channel that's all about food, and then be like, okay, I don't know anything about food, but let me try to learn as much as possible. I feel like as you learn and grow, you'd be able to apply a lot, you know. Fluff says it's a dilemma of trying to do something as a career, especially without the other involving as an editor or management. Self-employment is a lot of stress and effort. Yeah. To me, it's also just like, yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. Stress and effort, but I don't really find it to be stressful so much as it's just like it's just so much to like. It's definitely effort, but it's also just like pure complexity, I guess, you know? Yeah. And again, it's not that I don't like have an appetite for that level of complexity. It's just like there's like a tipping point that like I feel like you'd have to really grind it out to like and really like keep devouring as much as possible in order to like get to that point, if that makes any sense. Like there's this exponential curve of like learning, and And yeah, it also sucks when like you're right at the tippity top of like understanding something or being there, and then you kind of gas out, which I don't want to gas out. I just want to like, I don't want to feel like I have to have an answer for these questions that are seeming like infinitely complex, because you're trying to like understand how a human person can like react in 1,000 different ways, which I've always had a pretty good skill of like looking through other people's perspective, but this puts it to like a on 20,000x type power push, you know. The cat says, in 2025, I really want to hit 225 of lean muscle. Holy shit, cat. 20, even just 200 pounds of muscle is fucking insane, cat. Hot damn. I'm tired of running type body. I want some viable athleticism. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think 220 is fucking. Like, I don't think it's yeah. I would, if you have 225 muscle, you're starting to push into like the level of weird strength, like not weird strength, sorry, like not like a bodybuilder, like where like, yes, you could theoretically lift, like deadlift a stupid amount of weight and stuff like that, but I don't know if you fought a person who had like a spear or a sword or like whatever, and like, yeah, like, or like if you had to do like a military course where like you're jumping out and like jumping over stuff and you're hanging off ropes and you're rope climbing, 225 pounds is like fucking a lot of weight. And if it's pure muscle, then fuck me. Like, I think that's, and I don't know if it's healthy for some. It depends on your size and your height and all that stuff, but I don't know if it's entirely healthy for someone to walk around with 225 pure weight or pure muscle, a lean muscle, you know.
Catman 11,234 said, I appreciate the advice. I'll avoid people with swords and spears.
My point was that like like you said something that to me made me feel like conflicted a little bit, which you said, I'm tired of running, having the runner type body. I want a viable, viable aesthetic. That was fine. I thought you said like a athletic aesthetic. And I thought like athleticism, I don't think would be indicative of 225. I think you look beefy as fuck, like a fucking big ass dude as 225 of pure lean muscle. But I was gonna say, I don't like, to me when I think of like, if you see like Olympians or like super athletes, essentially, they don't tend to be like rocking 225 unless they're football players and their whole objective is just to kind of like tank a hit. But if you see some like the most like Michael Phelps or some like these freak athletes that are like some of the peak survival oriented, like task conquering type of physiques, that'd be them. But that's not what you described wanting. You want like the aesthetic value, which I totally think most people would go to. I feel like it's gonna be miserable staying at 225 of lean muscle. Like that's gonna be tough, man. But I that's one hell of a goal to pursue, man. Hell yeah. It's good to have something to work towards for sure. Also, we have to end the stream at 5 p.m. by the way, just to give you guys a heads up. Sorry, I have to get to a thing. I know it's not the same up in Canada, but with how the job market is in my area, I probably should have pushed. You probably should have pushed yourself to stream or something for the last 4 years. What do you mean, Fluff? Cat says, I'd check out Fluff's stream. I check out Fluff's stream purely. Oh, does that Fluff say, I know it's not the same in Canada, but with how the job market is in my area, Fluff says I probably should have pushed myself to stream or something for the last year. Oh, Fluff, I think you'd be amazing for streaming, especially that one time I heard you on Helldivers. You have a voice for streaming, like it's nice to listen to. You are like super knowledgeable about games, and you have a deep knowledge about a lot of things. I feel like if somebody in the chat was like prompting you for stuff, I feel like you could fucking let it rip. And also you have like I feel like you're more of how do I put it? I find I'm sometimes like beaten by the fact that I like to create content more than I sometimes like to like fall into a game. You know, like I can't remember the last time I dumped like 1,000 hours into a video game. Just because I like creating content about the video game more than I do about playing the game. But I think Fluff is one of those people that really enjoys playing the game and knows a ton about that game. And if people popped into your streams, I think it would do really well. Also, it doesn't take anything to try, you know, like, yeah. I also think that content, like streaming to me makes more sense than just starting the YouTube thing. I do think you probably would need to like make sure you dedicate time to like creating shorts or something else, because Lord Aethelstan made a good point about streaming, where he's like, basically, you need to do something somewhere else so somebody can find you. Like, you can't just start streaming and expect people to show up. You almost need to, like, do shorts or go on a Twitter or something like that and start making, like, music videos or music parody stuff. There has to be something that people are already following you for, and then you kind of, like, transition that audience to another location, i.e., like, for me, it was Let It Die. Guides were doing really well, and then it transitioned a lot of people over to us just streaming, you know? Fluff, Markiplier owns ours is an interesting example. I first only think the one who it sticks. Fluff says, go find some of the Helldivers 2 VODs. You'll hear me there. Yeah, Fluff's got a good voice. I appreciate you being my parasocial friend. Are you talking to me or Fluff? Man, people say a lot of that shit. I don't know what to like. Sorry, I heard that argument a lot, but like, to me, I don't know. I don't get out much. I don't have very many people in my friend circle, so I do treat this as like a social thing. And I don't know. People always complicate things. Like, I've had moments in my life where I've called someone a friend, and they were like, "Oh, is that right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you." Like, if you like, again, if Lone passed away, what do you call it? Or if Lone like didn't show up for the stream for like months on end, I'd be fucking devastated. Maybe that's like cringe or whatever. People think like, oh, it's like a person, but I'm like, I've known this person for years, and I've talked to them every day for like, not every day, but like almost every week for years. Like, you can call this whatever you want. I like, to me, you matter to me. I maybe you don't want to say it's a friend, maybe you don't want to say it's an internet friend, whatever it's called. I don't give a shit. I all I know is that, like, what do you call it? People who are consistently here, who I have a fucking built-in data set of information about all of you. That doesn't. It means something to me, you know what I mean? Even if it may not mean a lot to everyone else, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. People want to like judge it of some kind, and I don't get me wrong. I definitely think there's people who weaponize like a relationship with their streamer against their audience quite a lot. You know, like, hey, I have this like, you know, this, what is it called? Like, merch drop, and you should buy it, and it would mean a lot to me, and I care about you guys a lot. But as the fact that I've been doing this for 10 years. Without making any like substantial money or anything like that, without like having succeeded in a massive way, and I've still showed up every single time.
Lone Syndicate said, "Lol, why am I the one that always get killed off?"
Because I think what do you call it? You're one of the people who I think is one of the people who in the chat is always, how do I put it? Like, I think you're actually like, I see you as a person who is a genuine fan of the content I create. I think like you're one of the people who like watches almost every video I upload, kind of thing, or at least makes a point to. So like, you're the closest thing that I would consider to being like a fan of me, and not like a fan of me, my streams only. You know, I think you're a fan of like the things I create. So I always use you as an example because you're in my head at least, the closest thing I could consider to like what is a normal fan. Because like, whether it's Nong or Cat, I feel like Nong or Cat are more like, they like the hangout vibe of like connecting with me on stream and having a fun thing and talking about news together and seeing each other's perspective on things. But you, I always associate in my head with like a person who genuinely is like a fan of my content and like doesn't miss an upload. So if you like, when people talk about like a parasocial relationship, I always go to you because in my head you're the idea of like a true fan of the content that I make, and not just like one variable of that content, if that makes any sense. So if you, again, I always go to you because if you passed away, it would affect me in a big way. Frankly, if any of you guys passed away, it would affect me in a big way. But it sounds sad, but also like there's people who used to show up to the stream like almost all the time, which I've never forgotten. Forgotten. Carthage, Sekity, Angelic Beatdown, again, tons of people who we've known over the years, and I won't forget them. You know what I mean? Now you can say whatever that is, but it is what it is. You know. Again, the whole parasocial thing, I think, is like people trying to defend them. They're like, I don't care about my audience, and I don't want people to make me feel bad, so I'm just going to say that everyone feels that way. And I'm like, you're weird. Like, you're the one who has this feeling. I don't have to be like that. But again, I don't understand the whole parasocial
said
thing
as
in
the
general.
resident furry, Grinn's well aware using me as an example would get a pipe bomb in the mail.
I was also going to say what is it called? The other thing. I forgot what I was about to say. Something about the whole parasocial thing. Anyways, Fluff says, I consider stress and anxiety are difficult. You can something that stress you mentally. emotionally or physically. It's an exhaustive thing to maintain alongside a healthy routine. Yeah. Kat says it'll be tough to just get to 225, but to set my goal high so that way if I push, yeah, if you get to 200 fucking pounds of fucking muscle, that's also insane. Like that's also like one hell of a win. Kat says I do not have a voice for a streamer. You don't know that? You don't absolutely know that. Honestly, a lot of like voice stuff is literally just it's just understanding, like if you've ever heard like a storyteller tell something, that's 90% of voice stuff, which is like oscillation and volume. Yeah.
Lone Syndicate said, "Aw shucks, Lilo me does know what to say, but thanks, Grin."
McFluffican said that was a joke. YouTube, I'm not a violent person. I save that catharsis for video games and getting mad at video games.
Fluff says, not all aspects of parasocial relationships are bad. I can't just slippery slope if you don't not mutually agree. Oh, yeah, again, that was what I was going to say. The other part of the whole parasocial thing that I never understood was, like, I've like, watched content ever since I was 9 years old on YouTube. And I've never, like, some people have this urge to, like, oh, I want to have a beer with you. And I don't know why, but I don't have that urge necessarily. Like, to me, it almost sounds weird, but the more I connect with a viewer or, like, a channel, the more I kind of put them into, like, a specific box of, like, I don't know. It's almost like a warm campfire. I don't want to get too close, I guess, you know, but I do like being around it, I guess. Does that make any sense? Ah. Also, Cat, you gotta go. Bye, Cat. Thanks for sound. Bye, buddy. I'll probably finish the VOD after this. Have a good one. Thanks for sound. Bye, Cat. My voice is deep as hell, says Ray. That's good. People love a deep ass voice. Again, my voice, I fuck up badly because I have a bad habit of oscillating, like, too much, to where, like, I'll go high-pitched when I'm saying something, or I'll go, like, yes. I try not to be, my natural voice is very, like, how to put, like, bored. Like, I have, like, resting bitch face along with, like, a very monotone voice. Like, if I talk normally without trying to oscillate my voice in any capacity, and I gotta make sure to do that, I just sound tired. so I try to be like, hey, let's try to be a warm person, I guess. And it helps when you make yourself laugh a lot. That kind of like makes it so that you're like, we're taking the piss out of everything. Okay, so to get back on track. The reason why we started doing the month of streaming was because I'm priming myself for 2025, where I'm kind of going to start to move some of my attention towards other things that I could see if I could manage that stuff, and maybe even get see if I could like look into getting a job and so on and so forth. But I promise you guys that I will always basically try to aim to stream to at least three times a week at a minimum. But I'm not going to start with the whole looking for a job thing too soon. But just to let you know, that's something that could possibly happen. But again, we should still try to find our way. But until then, we're probably going to do what we were talking about like streaming for weeks at a time on occasion. I think I like the idea of doing like 1 week of like a light stream where we only do 3 times a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the second week being a week of streaming. We'll see how that goes. I could see how that could be like complicated and weird for some people. So yeah.
McFluffican said, if I'm not referring to you by channel name, I tend to call you my streamer friend, as I feel like we've developed
no
a
for sure. Yeah. What do you call it? Yeah. Again,
years.
if you needed something from me,
plus you entrusted moderator status.
Yeah. For me, again, I think again, people want to put like it sounds weird. People want to put like what's it called, a title on it. But to me, like if you needed help with like launching a channel, Fluff, and you wanted to know something about something, I would absolutely love to like ramble at you about it. I would, if you wanted, like, if you were like a content creator and you wanted to, like, you're making this video and you wanted me to like do a voiceover part of it, or you wanted to like ask me something to be in the video, I'd absolutely fucking show up for it. Like, you can put a bunch of labels on it, but I try to do my best to show up for you, I guess. And people want to put a bunch of weird shit on it. To me, that is whatever it is.
Also, Grin, if you can lend me your ear for a moment, I would just like to say that I always was drawn to your content in a way like no other. I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's very sweet, Lone. I'm not sure if I'm anything that special, but I appreciate, again, I appreciate you feeling that way, because it's cool to have someone who like connects with the things you create, I guess. You know, like I think some people you can like a content creator because you like them as a person. You can connect to a content creator because you tend to like the same things. You can connect with a content creator because you because you genuinely like enjoy the content that they create, and I find it's just a dream and a pleasure to have anyone who thinks that way about anything that I do. So thank you so much. But moving forward, the one thing I wanted to ask you guys, so if we are going to pursue like light week, heavy week, light week, heavy week, light week, heavy week, just like a workout. Cat, if you're watching this in the VOD, you know what I mean. What do you call it? What should we pursue moving forward? I think I need a refractory, like a what's the word? Like a resting period, because we just streamed for a whole last month, and I'm getting a little bit to the point where I'm like, I just need to like not do a lot for just a week. So I think what I'm going to start to do is next week we're going to have a light week. So the start of the month is going to be a light week where it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know what we'll do. Probably it'll be a surprise. But then the follow-up week, I think we'll do that game that Fluff wanted us to play, which is that Hollow Live, because that was my only regret with this whole month of streaming, was I wish we would have picked a popular-esque game or a game that already had like a big fan base, just to see if by doing that could get new viewers into the chat, because that was the other thing I was wanting to see. I was wanting to see if I invested the same effort that I invested in my Mind Palace and Madness channel, in my streaming channel, what would be the outcome? And the outcome was great. The outcome in the streaming channel, a lot of people seem much happier, and we've seen a lot of new viewers pop in on occasion, so on and so forth. So I think that's what we're going to do. But then
Flufferkin said, I recommend light week, heavy week, and then base it on how much you want to dedicate to a game going forward.
That's not a bad idea. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying like we do a light week to kind of like almost like a prime week. Like, so we prime about an idea of what we want to do for the next week. And then say if we play like Skyrim VR and we're really liking the Skyrim VR, then we can push that to another week or another week. And then whenever that spree ends, then we can push to another like a light week where we're trying to decide on what we're going to do next. And then if we do another week, like a heavy week, like a full week of streaming with that one game we decided on, but we don't really connect with it, or we feel like that's plenty of time to kind of get the idea of the game and we're kind of getting sick of it, then we can end that within the week time or whatever, right? I think like that makes more sense as far as like trying to gauge how much is too much. We can always extend the timer of that fun game we're playing, and that would probably make sense for like YouTube coverage and shit like that. If you've struck gold and you've really liked the thing, we can do that. Flo says pretty much then light week as a breather. Yeah, so it's almost like a prep week followed by a full week push that could be extended possibly. Again, I will do that. We'll definitely do that, but I just want to also like throw that out there that like I might come back to you guys like 2 weeks into 2020 or 2 months into 2025 and be like, yeah guys, I still am like very much, if I look at my time investment, I'm still like 80% doing streaming, which maybe works out and maybe we just keep on keeping on with that, but I might come to you guys and be like, okay, I need, like, if I'm honestly trying to like give my attention to this other thing and just seeing what happens, we might need to adjust things slightly, and then again have bouts of like hyperfixation, like when a vow drops, finding the time to do that. But just to give a heads up, I think that's what we should do moving forward, and just be prepared that I might be like, okay, but this is not exactly resulting in me having enough time to dedicate to this other thing, if that makes any sense. But I think we probably will play that Hollow Cure game for only 1 week. I couldn't see us maybe pushing it, probably. So next week we'll have a light stream.
Lone Syndicate said, I remember seeing your videos for the first time. I see this person that was dedicated and put a lot of effort into what he did and was helpful, and whatever your future holds, I'm rooting for your man.
Thanks, man. That's really sweet. I don't want to get emotional, so let's not. But so the first week is going to be the first week of this month is going to be a neutral. Essentially, we're just gonna have our Thursday, Friday, Saturday stream, whatever that may be. I don't know. We're just gonna be hanging out. The second week of this month is going to be us playing that Hollow Cure game for a whole week straight, and then the third week is going to be us probably taking another break period, and then the final week, which probably isn't the best idea. The final week, which is going to be like recovering from Christmas and going into the new year, is probably going to be Skyrim VR 2.0, and that could go for however long it ends up going. And yeah, so that's my plan in my head right now. Hopefully that makes sense to some people who are listening. Hopefully that adds up. Also, Love says, and I never bothered to ask or demand it. Also, I never bothered to ask or demand it, so I appreciate you finding me worthy rather than being pestered for sword icon or what? Oh, what do you call it? Yeah, well, you were always like one of those people. Again, to me, moderator was never an argument of like understanding the content of of someone's character enough to like give them this like to trust them, because I trust a lot of you guys. The issue is that it always felt weird to me where like people used to ask me for moderator a lot, and they were all people that like we talked enough to where I knew that they weren't gonna fuck it up, basically. But to me, it always was weird about like, like I would give Nong a fucking moderator thing. Like Nong's great. I would give like Raiden a moderator thing. But the issue is that everyone in the chat is a moderator, because I've talked to you guys for years, not like days, years. So like I get a pretty good sense for like whether that shit's happening. It's also, I can see the actions you guys take, so it's not like you guys could be like fucking shit up in the background. So like moderator was always one of those things where like I trust a lot of you guys to that extent a lot. I just don't want everyone to have the responsibility of always having to do that. Also, it looks weird when somebody comes in here like, why is everyone a fucking mod? Like, oh. It's the non-moderators that make us look normal, okay? Light week, heavy week, and then based on how much you dedicate to the game going. Yeah, exactly. Lone says, I remember seeing you're over at that. Sounds like a plan. I'm flexible and I won't demand you to do what you're not feeling up for. Yeah. Lone says, isn't HoloCure yeah, but I think a week gives us a chance. Like, I like the idea of like, even if we say I'm going to play this HoloCure game for a week, it forces me, like if I'm bored at like day 2, it forces me to be like, okay, how can I make this fun for me? How can I find an angle on this that I would start to enjoy more? And maybe that's when we start to like adapt or evolve a trend to like suit me, I guess, you know? I do miss hearing Editor Grin voice as I was charming Hook when watching the videos long before I stream. Yeah. Again, it's funny that people always mention stuff like that. Again, it's tough because the better you get at making a video, hopefully you don't have to have all these interjections where like you're fixing your broken self in the past. But then it's also like a point of charm that people really connected with, which is funny. But yeah. Love says, I do, sorta Lone. It's free fan game with a ton of content, main game mode, Vampire Survivor. You get with a ton of content main game. Yeah. It's almost like it's like your little guy running around. You know the Zenless event that they had, Lone, where you're playing like a little tiny guy who's like running around and he's like killing shit and he's getting upgrades. Kind of a thing very similar to that. Except VTubers or some shit. Hopefully it's not a very expensive game.
Lone Syndicate said side not I got Lighter's core skill to max, now I am taking DPS Lighter back into Shiyu with Nicole and Rena as my supports.
Oh, okay. Nicole and Rena, that'd be cool to see. Yeah, especially with Nicole bunching them up really good, and then like Lighter can just go Kamehameha. That's pretty sweet. And that's the Hollow Live YouTubers, tons of references. I will say, Fluff, I will say, just a heads up. I thought about this the whole time when you were telling me about it. What do you call it? It's hard to describe this. But when we are playing Hollow Live, we're gonna need updates on like what the hell's going on. But maybe not an update on everything, because I feel like there's going to be so much data that you're just going to be able to go like bang, 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 bang. And I feel like we should probably slow down a little bit on some of that data, because I'll get overwhelmed. I'll get overloaded by like, oh, fuck, here we go. More stuff about these things, which is going to be awesome. But I am like, oh, fuck. I just have an image in my head of us playing it and being like, oh, Fluff's digging into the lore or some shit. I'm like, oh no, I don't know what half of this means. And I'm trying to juggle like streaming and talking to people and then trying to manage like the deep lore of Hollow Live. And I'm like, Fluff, please hold back just a little bit. Fluff says, that's quite the element mix, but I'm sure it's more about defense, shred, and penetration. Ooh. Also, Nog says, give him a 2-minute TTS time. Well, we actually might need Fluff to explain a lot of this stuff, because I imagine it's going to be very much like a game made for fans. So I feel like a lot of us are going to be like, what is this? Great Sage Fluff. What is this part? Also, Yeah, no, honestly, I think that's maybe all of it.
McFlufferkin said, I fully intend to explain it gradually. I'll recommend characters and who to prioritize on the gotcha.
Perfect.
Especially how to prioritize upgrades.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be really important. Yeah. Again, those games are weird because I feel like half of it is in like the weird minutia of you knowing. It's not like a lot of indie games. Like same thing with Don't Starve. Don't Starve is a big game where it's about like the little minutia of you knowing when to do this next thing and building a farm and how to gamify it in a weird way. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that was largely all the things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give myself a pat on the back, which I rarely do when it comes to like shedding challenges. I usually just focus on the next challenge, but we did it. We set out. We did the endurance thing. There are also moments this year where we streamed for like 8 hours, which I'm proud of, and that so I feel like if it called to it, I could stream a little bit longer, and I wouldn't hate it. I would rather have like. How do I describe it? I guess to me, I don't personally watch streams that are 8 hours at all.
Lone Syndicate said, I want to see if DPS Lighter can work without being tied to fellow sons being Lucy, Caesar, or Bernice.
Well, that'd be cool to see. I feel like it might be able to work. I just feel like it's made easier and more like I feel like again Bernice and Caesar just make it so that whomever
Bolty
comes in the future.
Hello.
Bolty, you missed so much. You missed just as we're wrapping up the big month-long discussion, buddy. But we're happy to have you. Hopefully, you've had a lovely day. Hopefully, your Sunday's been good.
McFlufferkin said there's loads of characters, but you start with 5, the Myth General.
Oh, okay.
So I'd probably recommend Callie, Kiara, or Amelia to start.
All right. Okay, sweet. Okay, yeah. I know some of those names. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be good. But yes, I think we're good. Not good. But we still hang out, talk for quite a little bit. I'm trying to think of like, did I miss anything? I don't think so. I think we checked all the boxes. I talked about how the week was a success, or the month was a success. We talked about how the games that stood out to me, which were Skyrim, and a lot of people's favorites was also Wayfinder. So moving forward, those are two games I'll try to keep on the agenda to continue. To me, a takeaway just for my like analytical stuff is it seemed like a game that I can iterate upon is probably for the best. Like a game like Skyrim modding or Fallout modding or Elden Ring challenge runs is also something like that could possibly work. A brand new game like Avowed, I think playing that for a whole last month or week, would be efficient. Then we settled on the idea of us basically doing like a prep week where we're like doing a light stream, 3 streams a week, 3 streams that week, and then we follow that up by a week of streaming that can be pushed to 2 weeks, 3 weeks if we happen to like that game, like Avowed or Skyrim VR. We just want to keep playing it, streaming it more. I also told you guys how moving into 2025, I probably will be trying to push my focus 80% of my effort on things outside of YouTube, but still streaming basically the normal amount. If possible, but also I might adjust that given if I'm streaming a little bit too much because maybe we're having too much fun there, and I need to adjust it back to having, putting that attention back on real life, etc. Things like that. I think that's all the stuff I want to talk about. And also the next week's stream is going to be a prep stream, and then the following week is going to be Hollow Cure, which I don't think will push past a week. I think we'll keep that locked into a week. Then we'll have another light week, and then they'll be followed by a Skyrim VR for a heavy week. And that could be pushed to another 2-3 weeks past that point. We'll see. But yeah. So that's our schedule moving forward. Hopefully people are into it. Hopefully people enjoy that. Raid says, great stream, Grim. I'm eager to see what the future holds. Me too. Again, I cannot stress enough how overwhelmingly sweet it was to see so many people show up. I gotta be careful saying stuff like this because I get emotional about it, but it's very sweet. It's very sweet to see so many people who showed up so consistently for a whole last month. It definitely pushes it past what I was expecting and prepared for. And I'm just overwhelmingly happy with people being so sweet to show up so consistently and etc. And keep me company and on my random tirades and even when the streams weren't so good as far as technical difficulties, you guys still hang in there, and it was just overwhelmingly sweet to see. Or an overwhelming thing to see. Fluff says, it's got solid controller support and loads of optional side content, farming, fishing, house customization, even mini game casinos with a latest
Lone
update.
Syndicate said, Grin the stream like for the month of streaming being a success.
Grin the stream, light for streaming would be a set. What do you mean? There was a light. What do you mean light work? What do you mean, Lone? Text speech fucking you up. Being on phone like that. Fluff says, looking forward to what's on the horizon. Do let me know if and when you are going to return to Wayfinder. Yeah. It's tough because I do think that it's tough. Absolutely will return to Wayfinder. The issue is that like I think I don't know. I feel like the Skyrim VR thing was much more like interesting a little bit at that time, and also it's the one that I have like just a slight bit more. Cause it's almost like I want a redo of it because I feel like a lot of the time it was kind of like sketchy on certain moments, a little bit laggy. So I want a redo of that, I guess, you know. Also, thank you so much for being here, Ahmed. But ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else you want to ramble at me about? But I think that might be it. We may end it a little bit early, so I don't take any more of you guys' time. But yes, I'm. Also, the fucking Shino defense. I couldn't get. I only got A on the last 2 ticks because of the stupid. I don't know, man. It's just.
Lone Syndicate said, give not GRINN. It's funny how it autocorrect to GRINN, although when I type GRINN, it autocorrects.
Weird. Whenever I type GRINN, it always autocorrects to 1 N. And I'm like, stop it! Leave it as 2. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be it for today. I think we talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Also, I think we talked a lot about random shit yesterday, so I'm not sure if you guys are like, I don't have anything to talk about GRINN. So it makes sense too. As far as going into 2025, I know we probably should talk about this towards the end of the year, which we probably will. Yeah, I am over the moon excited for next year. It's also why it's also kind of crummy a little bit that like I'm starting to take a little of my attention off of content creation because there's so much shit happening next year as far as games go. But again, I think that's why that's also why we did the stream. That's another reason why we did the whole month of streaming is because if I am going to start to dedicate 80% of my attention towards something else outside of YouTube and streaming, or outside of content creation, I wanted to like still have time to like play games with you guys essentially. So to me, I like the idea that we settle on of like a prep week and then followed up by like a heavy full streaming week that can be pushed to 2 to 3 to 4 streams a week given what we decide, and given when like a game like Avowed comes out, so on and so forth. So I think that weirdly works with like a year that seems to be packed full of like fun games to play. And who knows, maybe we can like hire an editor if we start to. That's the other thing. The other reason why I'm trying to look outside of YouTube for some stuff is it'd be nice to just see what happens what happens if you dedicate some of your attention to something else, whether it's harder or less hard. Both I think would be a good answer.
Happy December, everyone. Hope y'all have a good upcoming winter holiday. Also Game Awards in 2 weeks.
Oh, I forgot about the Game Awards. We might have to stream Game Award Day, whatever that might be. Remind me when that is, and then we might have to stream that. That'd be fun. I always like streaming the Game Awards for you guys, but sometimes it's so fucking late at night. It makes me so tired sitting there. I'm like, oh, I'm a zombie. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can see you once again next week. Next week, or I guess this week because we're streaming on Sunday, so Monday forward. We'll be having a light week, so we'll be streaming Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then the following week will be a full stream week where we play a little weird gacha game with VTubers and such. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can see you once again. Thank you kindly for your time, and thank you once again for putting up with me for a whole ass month. You could have, in the future, you could not, if you didn't, you could take a break. I understand. There's a lot of me go around too much, honestly. But yes, love you, bye. Love you, bye.